Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Right, so I want to take a look at this kind of Hendrix style blues riff. It's got a kind of voodoo child kind of vibe to it, and of course it's not Hendrix in terms of where this comes from. It's just like I say, a blues riff, but I kind of sort of think in terms of his playing or that kind of energy, at least with some of the variations that I kind of, although at least the where I kind of learned them from before tracing a lot of this stuff back. So it's in E, and just before I play through some of these ideas, I just want to kind of explain, something like this is based on like this kind of idea for me. So. As just a kind of basic idea, so playing the low E 3 times and then the second fret of the D, the E there. So low E 3 times, third fret of the low E, sorry, and then the E on the second fret of the D. And as the kind of question, sort of answered that with just sort of doubling up a little bit the sort of first time and second time. That kind of question and answer feel is what will help, helps to give these things that, the kind of groove. And that's really what this is all about. It's something I'll use to warm up, or just if I'm feeling just like in the need to kind of play and I just want to go on a, it's what I use as one of my little journey tracks, something like that. Like I say, these variations will put on. Another one of these, what I call my journey tracks, something even like Mystery Train. And what I mean by that is I just sort of spend a lot of time just on the basic riff and sort of listening to it in different ways, from the pick into it, the dynamics, and then kind of just making a little bit of a kind of, melodic idea off of that, but just always in mind with that, literally like it's a train. So same with this other idea. Same again, maybe a bit of a different kind of train, but that's the kind of idea. That's the whole point of this exercise. So with that being the main kind of sort of groove of the thing, just let me play through some kind of variations. So and although I'm playing that a single note there, I might even choose something which might be a bit more set to style, where we'll play more of like in the E minor. And play a bit more of the strings. Even with that, before we get into some of the ideas, just work on the dynamics, even with my volume. Well, my volume's almost at full there, but that's got sort of a more of a quick tempo, even a lot slower. And that, like I say, again, going back to this idea of these journey kind of riffs, using the dynamics like that, it's as though, you know, using, I don't know, just to kind of evoke something more visceral, I guess. I don't know if there's some drilling going on in this building. I hope it doesn't come through too loud, sorry. So, right, just let me play through some ideas, kind of a mediumist tempo, something like that. So, So, like I say, that's really kind of get a bit hypnotized with it. So that's the kind of idea, really, is that you'll sort of, you know, play and play and play and just kind of think of these little kind of question and answer or variations. So, you know, just looking at a few of those, the most typical. So apart from the main kind of idea, sometimes I was even just doing variations on that, but would be even putting these kind of muted strikes. So after the first low E, before the third fret of the low E, and low E again, then this upstroke, and we're kind of catching, you know, the E and the B, I guess, the G will ring through a little bit. For the majority of this, I do this kind of pull-off idea, and that's for kind of two reasons. One, it'll just sort of help, you know, just sort of practicing the pull-off itself, but also not to tire from so much of bending on the second fret of the third string, which might be more sort of typical with, you know, for this kind of riff. So that point, this pull-off 3-2 of the G into the second fret of the D. Practice that, you know, with different dynamics, like they're also sometimes doing the first part with the sort of playing the low E's rather than the muted strikes. Or doing the sort of muted strikes and then answering with the more. So even mixing those variations up, but they're kind of the base for me, I guess. Now it's usually after that, so the first part. So after that low E, which is kind of starting the second, which was kind of like the answer, is that's where I'll sort of fill in those spaces before the riff starts again. Something like that, just hammering on the notes of the E chord. So I'm just hammering onto the second of the A, second of the D, first of the G. So it starts with that low E. another one there. So again, this all comes after we do the question. Then we start. What I was going to for now, just at least start this answer with the low E. Again, hammer to the second of the A. This time, rather than go to the D, we'll go straight hammer to the first of the G. And then an upstroke, catching that high E and B. Or even using that lower E when we go to that as the start of like ascending just a blues scale. And even using that a few different ways, sort of dynamics, or where you play that on the string, maybe muted, maybe more open. Finger maybe to pick that so it's more of the high E alone. Another one I think I did before. So again, low E. Slide there to the fifth. Sorry, yep, the fifth of the A. Then I'm playing the fourth of the G. Then fourth of the A, second of the G. Then third of the low E, second on the D, starting the riff again. Another one, so let's see, yeah, I mean, of course, a typical sort of fret the third on the E and the B, then a bend on the second of the G, bend, release, pull off, the second on the D. So again, start with that low E, slide into the seventh on the low E, 5/7 on the A, and 5 on the D. Give that a shake or a bit of a bend. Second time this slide, 14th on the A, 12, 14 D, then maybe just the 12th on the G in its own if you want, you know, just that kind of, or maybe you want more of the double stop, play the 12th, you know, on the G, B and E, slide it off. Even leave a bit of space there, we'll do this. Typical double stop there. 7th on the E, 8th on the B. I'll have to crunch that up to the, not quite getting there, you know, the 9th on the B. it's all about making, it's kind of like controlled chaos. You know, you sort of something, it's kind of, I don't know, there's a heart, like I say, I was going to say a heartbeat. I mean, that's what kind of feel, you know, this, why you use this sort of movement journey kind of reference. It's kind of pulsating sometimes, it's expanding more, or it feels like it's about to explode with these. Get back to something a bit more controlled. Or that one again. Slide 7th on the E5, 7 on the A. Rather than just a 5th on the D, we'd hammer down to the 6 on the, which is same as the. But here, different context, sort of with the sort of tone of the strings. Rather than pick the blues scale, maybe sort of hammer. Again, to give a different kind of sound. Double pick that. So like I said, really sort of just, you know, I make things up now. That's the idea. You know, every time we just think of ways to fill in that space. Slide 2nd to the 4th on the G. Again, upstroke for those open E and B. Back to that pull off 3-2 or the G. 2 on the D. Some hammer on ideas up here. 5-7 on the A, 5-7 on the D. Back to the 5-7 on the A. Same thing, but now 7-9 on the D, 7-9 on the G, 7-9 on the D. You know, I think that I'm just really playing everything we've talked about. You know, the thing is trying to constantly change, even though, like I say, it's a journey. It's kind of thinking in terms of that. You know, you think of all the, you know, that's how it sort of occurs to me, that these kind of ideas. Maybe, you know, you in a car, and then you sort of traveling, and each of those three things there have got their own sort of rhythm, but they're all sort of working, you know, sort of together in a certain harmony of this journey, and that's what you want, just to get in this groove of to the point where you could actually stop playing and just, you know, I can't see my feet there, but my foot's still going on it, imagining that kind of, at least the basic. You know, even a way to just break that up, stick something like the Hey Joe, you know, chromatic riff. Think of Hey Joe, we've got C, G, D, A, and E. But we've got that. So we could from C to G, D to A, so that's on the third of the A. Walk chromatically up on the low E, up on low E, first, second, third. Now we start 2, 3, 4, up to 5 to make the D. Do that on the A. But each time we sort of do this riff, we're starting on the root of the chord, move to the third of the chord, not the third fret, which is moving to the root of the next chord, starting on the third of the chord, moving to the root of the next chord. And so then 2, 3, 4, 5 on the low E, which again follows that idea, starting on the root, third of the chord. 4, 5, 6, 7 on the A. That's 7 on the A, the E is the same as our low E, so you could decide to not play the low E and start the riff, sort of reaching that target from so rather than 3 low E's to begin, or you could or just, rather than reach that, I think I played some of those in octaves before. So here 2, 3, 4, 5. I just play, you know, playing the octave on the G. So 2 on the A, 4 on the G. 3 on the A, 5 on the G. 4 on the A, 6 on the G. Not sure if I played the octave or the chord. Probably or so, yeah. 5 on the D, 7 on the E, G. Octaves there. So it follows the same kind of idea. 2 on the low E, 4 on the D, 3 on the low E, 5 on the D, 4 on the low E, 6 on the D, and 5 on the 5 on the E, 7 on the D. Then same kind of idea. 4 on the A, 6 on the G, 5 on the A, 7 on the G, 6 on the A, 8 on the G, and then reaching that final octave, depending on what you want to do, like I say. You know, so something like I say, even if hands are not sure what to do, there's so many possibilities. Just making sounds, making squeals. I think it's in this Stevie Ray Vaughan Voodoo Child as well. Maybe Hendrix does it as well, but I remember it so well from. It does this kind of, you know, the whip. But then that low E, and then a hammer from the 7 to the 9 on the G. So we'd have to miss out that second low E in the sort of in the answer part. Maybe it was a B and the G, not the. And it's, you know, getting those things, you know, like now trying to do that very controlled. It's so elastic in the way that these things are kind of fired out or spat out, and that's really what you're trying, you know, even kind of unison bend up at the 12th, so bending the 15th of the B, also fretting the 12th of the E, or you know the kind of alternate version, just doing the same bend, but rather than the fretting the 12th of the E, playing the open. So, you know, they're just kind of some like the variations off the top of my head. But like I say, it's all about, even though it's this repeating idea, now using maybe this chromatic idea to break it up a bit, but it's you yourself trying to make that, you know, sort of, you know, feel that it's kind of a journey of something, of sound, of just sort of filling in those spaces with just kind of spontaneous ideas, working things out perhaps sometimes. But it's really having, it's kind of a set kind of question, and your answers are just a bit more sort of, even a lot slower. But we're doing that, I guess, medium tempo. You could do it a lot faster. Sounds like someone's getting hit with a lead pipe. Or a lot slower. Right, so, yeah, give that a try, folks. Sort of record yourself. That's really, really important with these kind of things. Just to, you know, give it, you know, sometimes you'll surprise, well, not sometimes, a lot of the times with these kind of ideas, you'll surprise yourself. You know, and sort of try and make, you know, something like this as well a part of your, you know, practice. It's a good way to warm up. You don't want to do that too much, but just to sometimes get warmed up and into like the frame of mind of feeling, you know, you're kind of part of a groove or something like that. That's, you know, sometimes one of the reasons I'll do it, or just to sort of warm up the mind as well as the fingers a little bit. I would even keep it just a lot simpler. Maybe I'll just play for 2 minutes. very similar to before, but turn down a little more. Not really trying to give everything out. You know, like I say, the idea is you're warming up and you don't want to sort of, you know, use all your energy up. You know, depends what you got planned for your sort of practice session. And yeah, so give that a try anyway, and I'll, you know, think about even ways we can expand on this and look at things sort of similar. So I'm going to get back to the sort of regular stuff this week. I've got a ton more ideas for the jazz stuff we were looking at. And back to some sort of sets and Stray Cats tracks. So right, we'll take her, folks. Have fun, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.